Right, this is officially day 41 of the overall module. However, to me, this is day 0 of editing, self-editing. So today we're going to be thinking more about how to get our head in the right space to edit, how to prepare to edit, things like that. First of all, oh, there goes Pi Pi after squirrel. First thing, if you haven't taken many days off, oh my gosh, you totally deserve some. I know you may be panicked, you won't come back. I certainly hope that you will. Again, I recommend no more than a week to take off. Remember, most of the pages that we're going to be editing you hopefully have not seen for a month and a half. And by the time we get to the end that you just wrote, it'll be 20 days, a couple of weeks. So if you need some time, take some time. If you're frustrated, if you're too anxious, if you're too, take some time off, calm down. The other important thing about this is to be as kind and gentle and loving as possible. You may start to read and find out that the book is maybe not to the caliber that you had hoped. And this is when the internal critic can get really slice and dice. This is not a time. There's never a time where it's okay for the internal critic to rip on you. So if you're having any sense of that, please go to the fear and the internal critic and the affirmations modules and bleed some of that fear and anger and angst off before you edit. I am hoping that editing will be a beautiful, exciting experience for you. I love the editing process perfectly. It is my chance to fix things. I really have a hard time understanding people that don't like the editing process because I guess I write really loosey-goosey my first time and I make a lot of mistakes. And again, my creative process is very, very messy. I let myself make those mistakes. I allow myself to screw up and to find things in the third act that I didn't have to seed all throughout the book. And so I'm just happy I get to edit it. I now get to fix it. The hard part for me is taking kind of the movie in my head and kind of flattening it down and having it make sense and thinking up things and figuring out how to get person A to position B. That's the hard part. That's the work for me in my head. The editing process is for me joyous because I just get to fix things. I don't have to really think that hard. I like that about the editing process. I just go in and find all the boo-boos that I made and fix them and go and fix the more major mechanics of it if I need to. I may have to write a few pages here and there, but the really sitting down and figuring out the entire book and the arc and the character's arc and the hero's wound and the villain's motivation, that's all behind me, man. I am just fixing things. Now, for me, when I first started editing, I had a really hard time doing multiple editing things at once. As we walk forward, I'm going to ask you to do a lot of editing, a lot of different things. And if you find you can't do them all at once, that's fine. What I used to do is I would go through and just passive voice, dialogue, some of that I would do all at once. I couldn't really do, though, hero's arc or fix some of the plotting issues or drop new stuff in. I can kind of do that now, but it wasn't uncommon that when I first started, I would do what I call several washes. I would go and look at my passive voice. I would go and I would look at my dialogue. I would go and I would fix things. And I'd maybe go over the draft 3 or 4 times, not necessarily doing any kind of major rewrite, but just making sure I was really focusing in. I can only really focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. And it was too hard to go and do all of the passive voice at the same time as character work as well. So hopefully this is going to get you in the right mind space. I pray you can embrace the editing process and have it be a salvation for you where you can fix things. I hope that your heart can be open and forgive yourself for any mistakes that you made and that you are just the writer that you were when you wrote these pages and they may not be fantastic and I don't even know if they're salvageable. That's okay. We're going to edit, we're going to learn, and we're going to move on to the next book. And that is how this goes. So take some time off. Do what you need to do to be in a loving space. This is not an invitation for the internal critic to come out. The editing hat is actually a very loving hat and is very much just, did it work, did it not work? There's no judgment of good or bad. It's just, did it work or not work? So hopefully we can embrace all of that tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Don't peek at your book yet. We're not starting editing until tomorrow. Shut your laptop if you need to. Let it rest. Let it get a little bit of distance. If you need time off, again, take some time off. And I will see you tomorrow.